coming out tonight. Thank you for coming to Tiny College Concert's third poetry night. We're so excited that Co-op is hosting us again. To start us off, can we please welcome Megan?
Hello, thank you so much for being here. I'm Megan. I did poetry at last Tiny College Concerts Poetry Night and I loved it so much, so thank you so much for organizing it. I'm going to be saying just a few poems. Poetry is kind of my form of journaling. It sort of just kind of gets me through, like whenever I'm feeling anxious or I just need to process something. So a lot of them are just kind of about like personal things. Usually they're like, some of them are really, like I'd say like more symbolic, and others are just like me journaling. So you'll see some of that a little bit. And it just kind of, these were all written this past term, and just kind of trace through a journey that I've had this term. All right, so the first one is called About a Boy. When the wind caresses your soft swaths of hair and the shine of the strung lights reflect in your glasses, fear, excitement, comfort, and peace sing and dance all at once. And then part 2. It's so cold. It's cold, that kind of cold that hurts. Your laughs of relief without me in your gaze twist like daggers in your skin, like the snow does as it sweeps from frozen banks. Endless expanse. Solid sparkling snow pushes on my back like the sweet surface of the gentle moon many miles away, illuminating dark paths. Stars trace along my body and take up all my sight above and below my chest, with the endless trees whispering of memories. From the shadows of distant moments, I run forwards with aim into an expanse of dreams bounded by nothing. Next one's called Thursday, 50 Degrees. The sunlight glistens from the sky of memories onto the damp ground as the scent of rain dances upon melting snow from cold wind past. I hum a song of newness that cuts through past sorrow and opens an embrace of the present song that unfolds before my heart. And then this last one is called Waitlist, and it was like kind of the whole term altogether. Romance used to be the center of a world of laughter and gasps. In the sphere of youth, I reveled in the flutter of my heart upon the blush of my cheeks. I slipped into abysses of despair after brief phases of light, leaving me defenseless and weakened, with only my heart dragging me through. In a dark, lifeless classroom, I laid my tears to rest when I fell a long way and could not be lifted. The snow on paths around and freezing air was frozen still, like a distant echo of the expanse and release of my chest once filled with love. In that silent space, I decided that I was finished, left fooless by a pipe dream that broke like ice, losing its grip from the roof. The snow slowly melted, singing its silent song as it faded. The sun leaked through cracks of sorrow once again, and the wind began tasting sweet. Through branches without leaves, winter allows us to see light, the purest of all times. As surely as the winter Orion shines its ancient glow in the wash of darkness, my heart again found its reliance. Instead of grievously yearning for past dreams to ignite again, I rest my soul into the wind. I feel my feet descend and my weight spread and my arms widen, my soul soaring. Wherever it may take me, I welcome it as the fog lifts from distant trees and the river lets sunlight dance. I breathe in myself as I am always there for me, to catch me when I fall and to let go when I fly. Thank you. Sorry, I love the snapping so much.
All right. Hi, I'm Taryn. You're all looking at me, and that is scary. You would think I would be used to that, but I'm not. I mostly write music, but sometimes, I can't. There's no structure to emotion, and sometimes I can't put it into a nice song like that, so sometimes I do poems. The first one is called If I Were Somebody Else. If I were somebody else, I would be playing hooky. I do not want to be here. I do not like this feeling of putting my flaws, every crack in the floor, on display for all my peers to see. I fear they will laugh. I fear they will point. I fear they will ask, and my answer will disappoint. If I were somebody else, I would have different career aspirations, but no. I'd much rather pursue forensics. Bones and bloodstains, the perfect intersection of crime and psychology and biology, the kind of thing my mother has always called creepy, though it's been my dream since I was 12 years old. If I were somebody else, I'd ask you to take me on a date. You'd introduce me to friends and family as your partner, and I'd blush, but it would be the truth. And you know how much I hate lying, but that's just another layer in the garish Russian nesting doll that is my childhood trauma. But if I were somebody else, you'd know the way each layer is carved and painted, like the back of your hand, the curve of my neck, because I'd tell you, and you wouldn't leave. You'd know where each and every one of my scars are, even the ones that are so faded that no one bats an eye if I wear short sleeves, but trust me when I tell you that they are still there, and there are still days when I tug at my own skin, trying desperately to find the right angle so that I can still see them, because I need the proof that I did not imagine it, that all that pain all those years ago was real, that I am not a liar. If I were somebody else, I would trust myself to make you happy. You say you are happy, and I ask you if you're sure. I cannot fathom how someone could be happy trapped here with this. I have lived in my own head with no one but myself for company for 17 years, and let me tell you, I am one hell of a roommate. Sometimes I fear that you say what you think I want to hear because you don't want to hurt me. I'm not even sure what it is I want to hear these days. There is a reason I only ever speak of us in hypotheticals. But what I need, more than anything, like a dying man crawling on hands and knees through the desert, is not a mirage. I do not need your illusions. I cannot survive on dust and daydreams. I need the truth, like he needs a cool drink of water, a shadow to rest in. I need the truth, even if it means staying in this desert a little while longer. I need the truth, but I will not trust it until it hurts me. Perhaps I get that from my mother. Talking about someone else, I can lie. The truth is, I'll never play hooky. I'll never want a normal career, 9-to-5 cubicle dwellers in perfectly straight rows until the day that they die, casket dwellers in the same straight rows every day after. I'll never ask you to date me, nor will I presume that I'm important enough to you to be introduced as anything at all. And I'll never make you happy. But if I were somebody else, you and I would be a perfect match. I have a second one, but it's in a different Google Docs document, so I gotta find it. All right. A 10-step guide to teenagerhood, written by and for Taryn Mangin. Step 1, turn 13. If you have already made it to 12, this will be the easiest step. 8th grade is hard. Someone will always come along and try to burn down what little confidence you've convinced yourself you deserve. The smoke will be thick in the air, and yes, you will choke, but your skin is thicker. Breathe in anyway, and trust your lungs will know what to do. Step 2, watch your heart break. Hand the pieces to someone new. Watch them crush each one between their fingers, and let it happen. Gather the dust they leave behind and set off to find someone who will handle what remains with a little more care. Step 3, believe in love. Believe you have found your one and only, your soulmate. Believe the universe has thrown a ladder down into this pit. Believe it will hold your weight when you start climbing. Step 4, start climbing. You can't see the other end, so you won't notice when something starts to slip. Step 5, denial. Tell yourself it's nothing. Tell yourself she's everything. Step 5, hope. No, it won't change anything. No, you'll use her love as a bargaining chip. Tell her something has to give. Show her how you're hanging on by a thread and believe she'll reach out before it snaps. Step 5, rage. When she lets you fall, you will fall into fury. It is shallow and slow, a sluggish stream around your ankles, but it is a welcome distraction from the threat of drowning that is step 5, depression. The ocean that doesn't care if you know how to swim, the riptide will drag you down regardless. But at the bottom of the sea, you can sink your feet into the sand, and there where you've lost everything is step 6, acceptance. Step 7, open your eyes. It will sting at first. It is dark, and the glimmer of light in front of you is nearly blinding, but it's there. And after years of writing about, dreaming about, yearning for her, when the spotlight hits him, you will wonder how you didn't see it sooner. Step 8, learn to let yourself fall. Trust that this time someone will be there to catch you. Step 9, love him. With your whole heart and soul, with every fraying thread inside your skull, with every choreographed step you take, every melody you sing, every chord you'll ever play, love him. Love him because his soul and yours speak the same language somehow. Because even when you're miles apart, he can light up the world with a word. Because some people spend lifetimes searching for everything you can feel when he holds you, and that's not something you can let go. Step 10, take his hand. Keep your face toward the sunset as you walk together into it. It is not Disney, not a fairy tale romance, but it's something close and something better. It's real somehow, and you might always have trouble understanding that, but that's all right, because he will still be there when you turn to look for him. You will know then that soulmates are not fated but created, forged with fire and every piece of yourself you thought you'd lost forever somewhere along the way. Your story is not over, but you'll close this chapter side by side and pen the new one in unison. He will tell you that you are safe. Breathe in and believe him.
Hi guys. Oh, there are a lot of people. Oh my goodness. Holy crap. Okay. So there's like two types of things I usually like to write. I either like to write comedy or like gut-wrenching, like really dark shit. So this is the second one. And I wrote this 2 weeks ago. I still haven't come up with a title for it, so it's sitting in my Google Docs as "Fuck It, We Ball," but that's not the mood. Just like a big trigger warning for like everything, and I'm just gonna do it. I remember when I started digging this hole, when the thoughts came in and the feelings left. Back when the sun above was more than just a speck. Sometimes a small heap of dirt would fall from the heavens, and I'd slow to a stop. But it was never enough to keep my arms from moving and my mind from racing, so I continued on my fruitless journey. I hope to find a person or people that will throw more than a handful into my mental grave, more than just a drop in a bucket, enough to entomb me, to force the swim upwards and the shovel to drop. Make me breathe air unpolluted with anxiety and what-ifs. I knew I wasn't lazy. You can't be lazy if you're digging. People knew I was insane. They would call me anything but sick. I used to think I was dying. I would write little goodbye notes and unscrew the outlets from the walls of my bedroom, and I would crumple them up, tuck them under the wires, and screw the white plate back in. Like a time capsule that would never be opened. My informal will is somewhere on Notability. But I worked hard and I saved my life. If I had saved anyone else's life, I would have been a hero. But 3 years later, I still feel like the villain sometimes. I think I'm going back to that place, destroying myself so others can't. What if it's a real grave this time, one that someone was paid to dig? I'm tired of the back and forth, sleeping to fast forward, but still feeling so tired. It's easier to lie down in the hole than to climb out and miss the solitude. I've made that climb many times. I still don't know if it's worth it. If I'm so used to failing, why am I afraid of failure? If love is free, then why can't I afford it? If dirt is cheap, then what am I worth? If this is rock bottom, then why can't I look anywhere but down? If this is rock bottom, then why am I still digging? Thank you.
I have two poems for you all today. The first is called Housewarming, and the next is called Ruins, just so you know where we're going. Yeah. Housewarming. In a cramped car, luggage thrown in the back, we pass slanted roofs and worn down doors. Such an intimacy of two people once tangled together. They're recognizable from a distance, and yet we never thought to wonder, do the goldfish ache for a home under the stomach of their fish bowls? Did they see the briefness of our journey? Did they wish they could fly and carry us along? Your fingers trace down my spine, past ribs humming homesick hymns, buzzing in a response to your touch. In a stale bed, you once told me, bones fill and creak with longing, much like empty houses. Did my bones feel your embrace? Did they wish you would pocket them and carry us away? Weeding in a bed of flowering plants together, we tugged at raw roots. We shaped a new home for the billowing growth, and yet the chasms you left still haven't grown in. Evidence in the appearance exposed and blistered. May I call you a gardener, a tender of leaves? Then call my heart a tangled miscarriage of flowers, pulled deep at the roots, still craving to bloom in shades of you. I thought I felt your fingers taut against my thighs, like veins hooked deep into my body. Pumping blood back to the heart, a seed brings breath to the earth. Hands covered in dirt, I pull away. It reminds me of you, pulling deep at heartstrings and calling it growth. And I'm still craving to call it a home. Ruins. The trees have become bones. They pulled your flowers from the ground. Your feet leave footprints in the snow, but you're looking forwards, never back. It was August, shoulder to shoulder. It's growing colder since October. It's 3 and the moon is a hollowed out version of itself. These things will thaw tomorrow. The trees have become bones. They look like your hands. They've pulled your flowers from the ground, and you've pulled yourself out from your roots. And you've left so much behind. It's no wonder you're always looking forwards, never back.
Hi everybody. I was in a poetry class this term, so everything I'm reading tonight I wrote in that class. So this is going to be great for me. I don't know where I want to start. Alright, well, I call this one Zucosis. There is a bubble, pulsing and smoky inside. It lives in the kitchen, above the compost. Its intensity grows as the temperature outside rises, and my roommate's teeth sharpen. What is it called when the bears at the zoo pace over and over sun-hot plastic rocks? Unfocused eyes, looking but not looking. And are we all suffering the same way without really knowing it? The static that sends stray hairs skywards, contained in the bubble, sends us wheezing, like radon or lectures. It is not supposed to be here. It's not supposed to live like this. The bubble shakes and wobbles, waiting for the needle that pops it. Thank you. This next one is, I actually learned this word in my class. It's called an ekphrastic poem because I wrote it about painting. And the title is the title of the painting as well, so you should look it up. It's one of my favorite paintings. It's called Ophelia by John Everett Millais. It was made in 1851, so oil on canvas. I find comfort in picturing her at her mirror, unpinning her curls that morning before it all went wrong.
I find this painted world more peaceful when I believe that she dressed herself in zinc white because she liked where the pearls were on the bodice, rather than because she knew that the cobalt paint that thickened the water they found her body in would contrast so pleasingly and draw the viewer's eye. But I know how deeply her pain must have been, because she picked flowers for them, blending humble wildflowers as if she knew that she was a part of some bigger tragedy, on some greater path, one in which the story is not hers. She picked flowers for herself, to brighten the dark canvas that surrounds her. Together we sink in the unknown parts of life after a knowable tragedy. To gather every drop of willpower inside myself would be, inevitably, a waste, since we spend so much time breaking it down into little tiny pieces that sink to the bottom of myself where I cannot reach them, to turn them into something useful or deadly. When I was 19, I was so aware that I have so little say in how fast the world turns. My suicidal ideations were not unknown, but not worth flowers or gentle preparations. Parts of me just hardened, polymerized, cured, like oil paint, after it's exposed to oxygen, waiting for when they hang us side by side in the Louvre. A smaller, littler part of me doesn't want my pain to be knowable, seen, or reflective. I wish I could keep all the tragedy for myself. I'm picturing that world where paint and pain blend on the canvas together. I got one more. And this one's about my art class that I was taking. So I was just really thinking about school really this term. I don't even know what to tell you. This one's called Self-Portrait. The pads of my fingers are coated in willow vine charcoal. I glance from the paper to the chipped mirror pinned to the wall and back again. Is the mirror's surface distorted from years in the studio? Maybe I've always looked this lopsided. When we first met, we laughed because we share the same first name. Maybe there was some aspect of self-love then when we kissed. On your fingers, I could taste the shea you used to treat your hair. Perhaps it was an act of self-preservation then when we ended things. It was almost too much power to decide where the shadows and light go. I put my fingers to my mouth, imparting the dust to my lips. I wonder if you're haunting me via the studio lights, altering my reflection. The blackness coating my fingertips tastes like you. Thank you.
Wait, we gotta move that one. What? Eli? Yeah, Eli! Yay!
I'm Eli. They, them. I've never shared my poetry with anyone besides JoJo last night. So this will be the first. I write written poetry and not spoken poetry, so hopefully it'll translate okay. I just have 4 short poems. I tried to pick the 4 happiest poems that I've ever written. So we'll see how that goes. This first one is called The Beast, and I actually wrote it for my contact improv class. Pointed and flexed, angular and strong, animalistic and soft. Green and red, the color of the mother, the color of her blood. Voices cry out, overlap and layer, coat the trees and the ground. 8, then 3, then 1, then none. They knelt together and hoped together, lifting up, up, up. They give themselves over, they break apart. They become the fog and the mist in this strange forest. Drum beats in the distance, music or a war cry. What is the difference? Darkness falls in circles upon circles. The shadows sing a lullaby. The devil, they say. The wind whips the words away. A crown of thorns, one may say branches, never to be worn, only sought after. Look, look, look. Look how soft the animal. Look how soft the beast, humanity. The second one is called Definitional Trauma. To stage, transitive verb. 1, to produce something, such as a play. 2, to produce or cause to happen for public view or public effect. Stage, noun. 1, the part of a theater on which the acting takes place and which often includes the wings. 2, the acting profession, the theater as an occupation or activity. 3, a period or step in a process, activity, or development. Stage play, noun, a play that is written to be performed on stage. Stage face, noun, common acting term referring to stage presence and exaggerated facial expressions, a face one makes on stage. 2, you have to smile. Smile until your face hurts. 3, you'll never make it to Broadway. Come on now, everyone knows only pretty girls belong on stage. You understand, don't you, sweetheart? I mean, I'm not being mean, you just don't have a stage face. Stage body, noun. 1, a body on stage. 2, skinny, white, heterosexual blonde, conventionally attractive. 3, she's got talent for sure, but clearly she's not lead material. I mean, just look at her. Three, I think I'll do Losing the War next. Okay. Yeah, this is called Losing the War. It's about chronic illness. I was good for a month. Good was amazing. Good was fucking fantastic. And then I leaned over a bit too much doing the dishes and couldn't walk for 2 weeks. After those 2 weeks, I started to walk again, some pain, but that was to be expected, I guess. And then I fell, landed on my bad knee, was bruised black and blue, limping again for weeks. I would try to hide it as best as I could. I thought no one would notice, but of course they would. It's just my bad back, it's just my bad knee, everything's bad, and I'm only 19. Where does my body begin and the pain end? I cannot say, I cannot comprehend. They say you can win the battle, but you can't win the war. Those words have never seemed so true before, because I can feel fine for a month and tell myself it's not a lie, but in the end, I will still be forced to watch my body decay and die. Yeah, these were the happiest ones I could find, sorry. This last one's called Chorus Girl. The quick change is methodical, well practiced, but still rushed every time, still bordering on mere madness. Strip off your puffy gown and heels, step into a silk slip and corset, and of course another pair of heels. You had to learn to dance in them even if you don't see the appeal. Fix your wig, change your lipstick, and put on a smile. Time to give them a show, make it worth their cash and their while. Back in place for the next dance number. It's raunchy as always, but what can be done? You are a chorus girl after all, and chorus girls should know how to have fun. But when the mirror is over and, when the show is over and the mirror is screaming at you, your body, your makeup, your hair, your costume is all wrong. It's like you know color exists, but you can't quite recognize the hues. There is no place for you, no in between. You are an alto or a soprano, a leading lady or a chorus girl. Pick your own smokescreen. But how can it be, the chorus girl is not a chorus girl. As long as you remain a chorus girl, you will never truly be free.